In this episode of Cozy Conversations presented by Foam Home, we have with us the chief designer and founder of Design Hex, Shimona Bhansali. She has been in the design industry since the year 2002. While initially getting a degree in management studies and gaining expertise in business, Shimona has now found her passion and started her own interior designing firm to follow the same. Hello and welcome to Cozy Conversations. Shimona, it's great to have you here, and we are sitting at Foam Home, which I feel is the coziest place in the country.
It is. I've never had a recording where we're so relaxed. I thought I would get too formal because it's so relaxed and I don't want to go into the zone. I just go out of
But the
control.
whole concept is to be cozy, and that's why I want to start with the question: what does cozy mean to you?
I think that what we've managed here, this setup, is definitely something close to cozy because cozy is not only how you feel how cushy the bed is, but it's also the environment around you. It needs to be relaxed. You know, the feeling of the hygge feeling that you have, the Danish saying, that feeling of something that you're very well aware of since your childhood. That kind of a cozy, comfortable and secured feeling that you get.
Yes.
That is cozy for me. But also, being in the company of people you love and people you can have a really nice, candid conversation with also adds up.
I'm hoping that includes me also at the moment.
I'm hinting at that exactly.
So Shimona, you got your first individual project when you were just 17 years old. Tell us more about it and how did you get on this journey?
I think I've been telling this story for a long time, but it's one of my favorites because at that time when I was really actually walking the steps to becoming what I am today, I was completely unaware. As a child, I was really inclined to craft, cutting of paper and art, not painting. I was really bad at that, but definitely a lot of collage and so I knew I was very, very inclined towards something creative. But I pursued business studies as my because I did not know when in the creative field what will I actually pursue. Because everything interested me. And as since I was about 2-3 years old, my mom was really fond of doing up the house very well, and she would renovate every 5 or 6 years. I've known, I would count every time, Mama, 5 years you've not started work, and every 5 years it could definitely be something or the other. It starts with something small. We just want to make this, we want to refresh change the upholstery, but it would end up being the entire house. And every time that happened, it was like my haven. Because I would like to go and look at how the carpenters were working, how the painting was happening. I really enjoyed, me and my sister would try, there was a bare wall, try painting it ourselves. And we got a lot of opportunities. Our house was, by God's grace, we were always progressing. So newer, in office spaces also, newer opportunities came up where we could try our hands-on work. But we were very observant when all this work was happening. I always got the liberty of deciding how I wanted my room to look and what I wanted to go where, selecting laminates with the interior designers that worked on the house, or selecting the paint shades for the entire house. I was very involved. So it became like a routine for me. It became like a part of, everybody does that as part of normal life. That's not something that you make a career, and it was really really casually observed by me, but didn't realize it that time how inclined I was to doing up spaces. I would take up these leftover pieces of wood and ply on sites later, take nails. I would use hammers, and I remember I was only in the 3rd or 4th grade, and I made a little crane that would actually, I would handle it with a string, and it would pick up little objects from one side, and people of the society would come together, and in the evening we would have this whole setup of like a construction site or something going on. So those were like our games. Even once we made like a cruise ship. So my sister would add on her little. My sister is a fashion designer. She would cut out fabrics and do purses and old t-shirts. She would cut out, and she would even make jewelry. So that was my sister, and I was with all of the pieces of wood, ply, laminates. I would create things. So we made a cruise ship, and then we had a swimming pool on it. We had a badminton court on it. So every evening, all the kids in the society would come into our courtyard, and that's where we would play with some things that I would have made. So that was my initial exposure to something that I'm doing today. But I got my project at 17. It was not really a project.
Mhm.
I because people had seen me doing things for my
Hmm.
house, seen me
Yeah.
doing things at our offices or here there. There were relatives who knew
Hmm.
I was good at it, and they were confident enough at the age of 17 to give me the entire house. You do it, you handle it, and we
Wow.
trust you. So my aunt, she's been one of my strongest motivators in everything I've
Right.
done. She was like, she blindly said, Shimona, I trust you. Even her kitchen, like at the age of 17, I designed her entire kitchen, and I
That's
felt so proud when my mom came to her house and she was like, Minty, Minty is what they call me at home. I didn't know you would understand kitchen. How did you know that the cabinets overhead, the topmost ones could be more deep than the lower ones? So it's a very technical thing to
basic.
understand.
Yeah.
But I was that observant, and I was noticing when things were happening at home, and I
Right.
was noticing my mom was setting up things. So that's how I ended up starting with my. So once I did
Right.
her house and somebody else's, and
Yeah.
I was doing that as a side thing. But
Right.
as a profession, when I actually got started, I started a product design firm.
Correct.
So-
Called Smartwork Design Co.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like taking from that, how did you start Smartwork, and then why did you have to shut it down? And we all shy away from talking about failures, but I think that's literally what makes us what we are.
Yeah. So it continues the story from there because so I told you I did not know what in design attracted me the most,
Yeah.
because I was just so mesmerized with the entire design community by itself. I was also
Yeah.
inclined to fashion design, inclined to interior design, inclined to products, furniture, lights, everything that you could talk in design would mesmerize me. So there was this art form that I was. After I finished my college, I took up these small art courses, short
Mhm.
2 day art courses, to
Mhm.
see what I really wanted to do with design.
Right.
So there was this one teacher, very local, like neighborhood teacher, sort of
Yeah,
class
yeah.
teacher. I took a class from her on paper sculpturing.
Okay.
And then they used to just roll up some newspapers, and they
Mhm.
used to make those little paper dolls and things
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting, but the more interesting thing happened is that when I made that piece,
Mhm.
I realized that this could be taken to another level. It's
Yeah.
a very unexplored form of art.
Mhm.
People know paper mache, where
Yeah.
they make the
Yeah.
pulp of paper, and then you can mold it into
Mold
things.
it.
But paper sculpturing was something very, very, very less used, because it's
Right.
it's because of its fragility. It won't last that
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah.
So we also have a spiritual organization that we are a part of.
Mhm.
But a lot of people from the economically backward or financially not so
Well,
privileged people also attend there, and I felt that a lot of women there were not even given exposure to work or try
Oh.
their hands at skills that they would like to. It's not really always about money, but also as a interest. If they don't want to just sit at home all day, I
Yeah.
wanted to give them an opportunity. So there was this one day I took what I had made and I kept it over there in one of the spiritual meets that we had, and I said, anyone who wishes to learn this, I'm going to take classes from tomorrow.
Okay.
And the first day turnout was 40 ladies.
Wow.
The second day it became 50. I was like, what is happening? So basically I had no time to realize what I really had to do.
Right.
Never planned, and then
Yeah.
so much turnout happened, and I trained them in this art. And when I started doing this, we eventually evolved it
Yeah. Must
to
have ended up making so many products as well.
so many, because I
Yeah.
allowed them the creative freedom to
Yeah.
decide what they wanted to do with their paper sculptures.
Correct.
So they made potters, we made musicians, we made dancing girls, but eventually I started making a lot of brides.
Uh-huh.
So dressed up brides, we would do them up, and that's how I got into the wedding industry.
Oh my god.
And then I
Okay.
started designing trays and fancy products for with paper for that
Mhm.
industry, and that was Smartwork Design Co, where we explored with a lot of
Okay.
medium: wood, paper,
Mhm.
cardboards. We used a lot of metal, and like every kind of material I could get my
Right.
hands onto, I incorporated. Interior design was always running on the side,
Okay.
but because it was running on the side
Mhm.
and slowly so many opportunities started coming up, I had to overnight decide to sell my Smartwork Design Co and completely switch to interior. So in 2015 I made the jump. Like, it was like a
Mhm.
matter of months. I decided I want to switch completely, and I decided to sell the firm. I didn't
Yeah.
want to completely let it go flat. And that's where I started Design Hex.
Okay.
So it started in about 2015 officially, only
Officially.
purely for interior design.
So you worked for so many years in the design industry. What do you think is your design style, and has it evolved over the years?
Yes, I get thrilled at the opportunity to do any new house because I feel that I want to meet the clients, I want to have that interaction, I want to understand what they feel, and I really like to work with a lot of I don't like this, I like that, I don't like this, I like that, I like this is my design style. I like that input from clients. You know, the most difficult projects that I've worked on are projects where clients say, you know, do whatever you like. And I am this person, like I told you, I didn't know what design field I wanted to get into.
Right.
So for me, that open page, that open blank canvas is really confusing.
Yeah.
Because I can mold myself into any design style, and I like that clients push me to explore that. Because
Correct.
if you see the projects we've done over time, also every project is distinctly different in my design style, and I never want to put myself into this is my style or that.
So it depends on the clients. Why don't you give me one weird client story, or where probably you were designing a bedroom and the couples were fighting, or something like that?
Okay, that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
I cannot give you one.
Okay.
You know, I think, I have said this in many interviews in the past, that as an interior designer, my role is, okay, I want to design the house, but that has to sometimes take a back stand because first you have to be counselors also. Because obviously, if you're living in a house, even in a family, people have different likes, for a thing. If the husband wants a room like that, the wife might still keep saying, no, I want peach, I want peach, I want peach. And the husband like, why are you doing peach? No, I want a blue. No, blue will be too loud. So this is an everyday conversation. I am forever giving solutions of the in-between. I'm like, okay, let me find a thing that's something that will suit both of you. Let me give you a combination. So I've told you some of the more decent arguments.
Okay. So Shimona, your motto is to create spaces that look dreamy and beautiful, and you get lost into them. So how do you achieve that?
So the motto came from the fact that as a kid, I would just coming back from school, I would try to take a new route every day and try to get lost in that space. And I felt, it took me in a zone. I was like, probably I've reached a new world and I have to explore my way back. And I think that that sense of adventure that I had in me, I feel that if a space has that power to transform you to in a completely different zone, that is something that I should be able to create for people. If they're stepping from their heavy work day into their house, it should be able to translate into the zone they want to go at the end of the day and get relaxed. For example, if you step into a bedroom, you're coming there to rest, to relax. You're not trying to be a boss, or you're not trying to be like a work woman, or you're not trying to be somebody like, prim and proper. You want to be whoever you are and you want to relax. That room should be able to do that for you with its ambience as well.
Perfect. So if I have to ask you 3 tips that would make a bedroom the coziest place in the world, so what would be your top 3 tips for that?
Top 3? Just 3? Because I have many. So, okay, 3 I'll tell you. The most important thing in a bedroom and the function of the bedroom is rest.
Yeah.
So it has to be a cushy bed. It has to be a comfortable bed that suits you, your body type. You need to have a good night's rest. So your mattress, and of course there are a lot of nice mattress covers and layering and your bedding, all of that comes together as a package. Even what you throw onto your bed, your cushions and your, so this layering, and you want to fall onto the bed and you don't want to hit something khatak, so it needs to be this whole layering, and it has to have abundance on the bed. The second thing is the colors. A bedroom has to have colors that will calm you. Right. Different colors work for different people. For me, it's a very dull green or a dull blue. Those are my shades. But whatever color you select has to calm you down. Third tip is lighting. When you want to chill with your friends or your family in the evening, it cannot be very bright light. You have to have the option of dimming it, adjusting your lights, zoning your light. These are the 3 most important ones.
Thank you, Shimona. It was amazing having this conversation with you. And we got to know a lot about your personal life, and it's been a very interesting journey. Now, to make things more interesting, let me take you to another segment So it's a very simple game. You have to do a 2-minute pitch to one of your most demanding clients, and I'm going to give you a few words. You have to make sure that while you are pitching, that word is somehow included
Okay.
in your pitch,
Okay.
and it has to be a very short, like an elevator pitch. Okay.
Okay.
You ready to start?
Okay.
Okay. So the words that you have to include are egg, elevation, coin, horse, palm tree, molding, and tassel. I think you might just want to hold them.
So I'm going to make you my client. Okay.
Okay, I'm the client.
Okay.
I'm the difficult client.
Okay. So Ritika, I love this place you have. Just look at the huge courtyard you have here, and the sea view. What I can see here is by that palm tree.
Mhm.
I just hang this egg-shaped swing.
Oh.
Probably throw a tassel through on top, and create that whole very casual and I think very Ibiza sort of
Setup.
vibe here. I think all this coin together will really work well with the sea view that you have over here, the bright blue sea. And all your horses, of course, they'll, let's have like this open area left for them to graze around. Let it, oh my God, I can just visualize your space. I'm so excited to do this. See, once you're sitting on that egg swing,
Mhm.
you look on this side, you see those moldings of those buildings there. It just adds to the view. It's like you're once in the city and you're not. So it's giving you that vibe right in the center of the city. You're, by the sea, and this whole tropical Ibiza sort of vibe mixed together. Have I covered egg, elevation, coin, horse, palm tree,
Horse,
molding,
palm
tassel?
Oh my God! Yes,
Have I?
you're amazing. That was so
Would
much
you get
fun.
this? Would you make
Yes.
this face?
I would love to sit on the egg-shaped swing, definitely. But you're very good at this, so I'm sure you can whip out concepts from your.
I think
heart.
imagine the space. I have so much more to say about the space I imagined just now. What's on
Okay.
the flooring?
Okay, you keep continuing.
How I have my
keep
day
rolling.
beds by the umbrellas on the top. Yeah.
Very interesting, and you were very curious about what this was.
So, since I have sat down here, I've been wondering, initially I didn't figure, but all of this is foam. I didn't know there was
Yes.
so much variety.
This is the signature wall at Foam Home, and these are all the different varieties of foams that can actually be used. And there's a technology which is globally patented called ErgoShell, and that's where all this goes.
Yeah, and I heard that, they're able to give you a mattress where one side is another foam and the other side is another foam. That's pretty amazing.
That's how you can custom make, like one side can be firm and the other can be soft.
But
like
what
those
is
couple.
actually interesting
Actually, you should pitch
me,
this to one of your couple clients who
I definitely
want
will,
different
I
things.
definitely will. But
So,
what's the, just see all this texture and the
Yeah.
colors and
Yeah.
wow. It's almost like terrazzo here, and this is like, the tactile surface is like, I feel like I can have this cheese right now.
Yeah, it's more like your dreamland.
Yeah, it is.
All the colors.
It is.
Thank you, Shimona.
Thank
it was
you for
lovely
having me. I
talking
really
to
enjoyed
you.
this chat.
And we would like to thank you with a small gesture. We have a special hamper for you.
Thank you.
Pesh kiya jaye. So here's the hamper. You were the best with your game.
Thank you.
Very innovative, very creative.
Is that why I'm
and-
winning this, or you're giving it to all of the
No,
people
it's
who
just
talk
a
to you?
thank you. And
Just
it's
because they've been able to
curated.
talk to you. Complicated games
You
you're
know,
putting
now
together.
that we're in a cozy setup and you don't have to talk to me, but if you can't sleep in the night and you want to like pour out your feelings, this is the perfect thing for you.
Wow.
To have a
deserve
conscience-free
conscience-free
sleep.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank
you
you.
can enjoy the wine and the chocolates. You
Thank
might want
you.
to share it with someone special in your life.
For sure.